All right, here we go. It's another installment of Ozzy and Keats. We're not great. We're just okay. John Keating here at the Outside Ales Tap Room in Grand Haven, Michigan. Chris Osgood joins us, dear God, for the first time from the NHL road, where he is accompanying the Red Wings on one of their road trips. As we record this, he's in Los Angeles. More on that coming up. Coming up on Ozzy and Keats. Oh, by the way, we're also brought to you through our friends at Podcast Nation in Troy, Michigan. Coming up on the podcast, we will be joined by Ozzy's former teammate, Manny Legace. Some might argue that Manny Legace is the guy who forced Chris Osgood out of town. We'll tell that story a little bit later in the show, but we're brought to you for the first time, and we're delighted about this by Meijer. Meijer brings more good to every game day. And Ozzy, we finally have a big-time sponsor to your great delight, I'm sure.
Well, a lot of it was fighting through your history. You know, it's tough for a lot of our sponsors that we asked to get around that. We finally tricked somebody to actually take you in and get over the faults and all the mistakes and move on.
So
It's
yeah,
great to have Meijer aboard, though. It really is. So hopefully we can continue to get some really good guests, and it's been fun so far. Hopefully it gets better.
you're suggesting that when people were asked to sponsor the podcast, they said, "Oh, Chris Osgood, absolutely. Who's the other guy?
Yeah.
Keats?
Totally fine
Keating?
with me.
Oh no, he's got all that baggage attached to him." So,
A lot
yeah.
of different.
All right. Well,
It's great to have
Meyer
them.
Meyer has either chosen to overlook that or
Yeah.
to disregard that, and again, they're a huge force in the state of Michigan. We're delighted that they are a part of Ozzy and Keats, and they bring more good to every game day. All right, as we begin, as mentioned, you're on the road. What is your favorite NHL city?
Edmonton and Calgary.
Of
Being
course, because
that
that's home.
I'm out
Aside
there.
from the home aspect, if you had to pick a town, maybe to go out and have a beer in or see the sights, the scenery around town, what would that choice have been?
I stick in Canada. I like Toronto, Montreal. I enjoy. Um, it's good place to eat, good places to hang out. But I like it because of the hockey atmosphere. You go there in the morning. Certain rinks will have certain smells to them. You've asked me that question, I think, out here before, where you say, "What's your favorite smell?" But I think I said cigars.
Yeah.
So I am a traditionalist. I love the Canadian rinks, so I'll say Toronto, Montreal. But I would say if I was going to stay in the United States of America, a place that I really like to go, that I enjoy would have always been like when I played with Chicago and when they were good. I mean, it was fun to play there.
Sure.
When we were first in the league, they weren't good at all. There'd be nobody in the crowd. I believe their games weren't even on TV in Chicago. Then they became good. Played them in the playoffs often. They Taves Kane, who now plays for the Wings. So that was a lot of fun, a lot of exciting. The game has to be good too, though. The rink has to be good. The team has to be good.
Sure.
That's all part of it. So that would be a really cool place. I mean, I know you. I used to have a picture of you on my tie where you were on the poolside with a
Poolside. Yeah, in Southern California,
short block.
ironically
So
enough. Yeah.
I know your
right.
places would be all California, Florida, if
Well,
I recall.
no, I've been asked this question, and my answers were always automatically. I loved Vancouver. First of all, I think
Yeah, Vancouver's
everybody should put
yeah.
Vancouver on their bucket list because it's
That
got
hasn't been there for sure.
it's got the ocean, it's got the mountains. It's a great international city. As we've talked about, Canadians are just better than we are. They were raised better than we are, and they're more
The
polite.
downtown is fantastic.
Yeah, it's terrific.
really
Yeah,
nice.
it's terrific.
Yeah.
And Seattle, because I've always when I went there with the with the Tigers, even though they
Tigers,
played
yeah.
at the Kingdome, which wasn't exactly comfy.
Huh.
But Vancouver and Seattle were always my first two. You mentioned playing the Blackhawks in Chicago. You're old enough that you played at the old Chicago Stadium.
Yeah.
Right?
I played my first year in the NHL. I was fortunate. I got to play in St. Louis's old rink. It was called the St. Louis Arena. They came out to the Anheuser-Busch song. That's what really got me going on to beer.
Yeah, okay,
Then
we'll blame
yeah,
that for your issues with beer over time.
But
Okay.
Curtis Joseph was their goalie. Shanny was there. They had Brett Hall was there. I think we won 5-4. Um, sat on the bench in the Boston Garden. Tim Shovelday played that game. I was amazed because the dressing rooms are so far away. You'd have to walk all the way around the rink, and they're small. The dressing rooms are underneath the stands, so there wasn't a lot of room. Really old school. I got to play Maple Leaf Gardens, obviously. Chicago, I did not play. Tim Shovelday played there, but you'd walk up the stairs and the old Oregon. That was really cool. So I was fortunate I got a chance to at least see or be involved in those games, those rinks. But it was always like the arena was cool, but it was the dressing rooms. Like if old school. No, just kind of an afterthought put underneath this, kind of like the Joe Louis Arena press box.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah,
dressing
they
rooms. Oh,
forgot.
you mean
Yeah.
we dress rooms for
Yeah,
the
right.
visiting teams? Yeah. So
Yeah.
no, it was those rinks were cool because the crowd was right on top of you.
So
I mean, it was.
even though you didn't play at Chicago Stadium, how imposing could it be going up and down stairs, especially wearing goalie gear in
It was
skates
tough. It
to
was
get to the
tough.
rink, right?
It was tough, but it was cool. I think they might have had an elevator if I recall, but not everybody would wait or wanted to fit in there. I know in Rochester they had that when I was in the AHL. They had that for sure, or an elevator that went up, took you up. You had to do the stairs there. That's Buffalo's farm team. But I think the most out of all those rinks to play in, I remember Boston. The bench was almost an afterthought. There's a hole in the bench, and the goalie stood beside. That's where the sticks went down because there's no rooms for the sticks. You had to put them down there. The spare sticks as the players use. So it was those arenas had character. I know if people speak of it, but Joe Louis was. I never knew how hard it was to play in until I played for another team and went to Joe Louis. And because when you're on the home team, obviously it's an advantage and you'll feel all that. But when I was with St. Louis, the Islanders, it was like the people were right on top of you. It was loud. And you could feel the energy of that. They did not like you or want you there. So it was that Joe Louis of all the rinks I played in as an opposition player, that was the toughest. I'm not saying that just because.
All right. Here's a direct question. As a former Red Wing
Yeah.
and a guy who should be in the Hall of Fame, and that's a topic for another day. But you played a ton of hockey at Joe Louis
Yeah.
Arena, almost all for the Red Wings and a few games here and there with for other teams. Were you of the opinion that it was time for Joe Louis Arena to go away and be replaced by Little Caesars Arena? Did you feel like it was in the best interest
I
of the
did, yeah.
franchise to move to a different
I
place?
did for sure. The rink had run its
That's
course.
sacrilege to a lot of people, you know?
Yeah, but it was. And I'm very traditional, so I don't like change, and I love playing in Joe Louis. I remember going to the new rink, and now I was working for what I do now, whatever we were called then, because I can't recall. It wasn't past because I'm not that old like you.
Wasn't pass.
It was something. It was Fox. Was it Fox? I don't
It
even
wa
remember.
it was Fox. And
And
I think there's a whole lot of regret about that decision
yeah,
to put you on
I
television
couldn't
with
walk.
us.
I could not find my way around the LCA, and that was the most frustrating. And I like Joe Louis because I knew all the ushers. Everybody was in the same spot. The people would be at the same door. Familiarity. It was easy to get around. You knew everybody. And the new rink, I was getting lost all the time, so that was frustrating. But now when you go in the concourse in the arena, the rink is great. It has a good atmosphere, so it was needed. I think it's had run its course. I when you ask somebody about Joe Louis, the things they say, obviously, away from the stands and the atmosphere of the games was the troughs, right? And how long they had to wait for a beer. That's what my buddies would always say. They'd have to plan the game, their day around getting beers and when they're going to go to the bathroom.
Well, but isn't that true for all men, really? I mean,
Yes,
don't we plan our day around that?
yes.
Especially if you're out for a couple of ginger
It was.
ales.
I was always amazed. Remember when you and I were doing those games and at Joe Louis and we're up top there in the pizza area?
Yep.
And I was always amazed. The team wasn't doing great, but every game would be sold out, be packed. People would be there. It was definitely for pure viewing of sports, one of the best venues there had ever been, I believe. And just it was just missing everything else. And I think the new arena gives that. And our rink, I've been to all of them, John, and I don't remember them all, but I've been to all the arenas, and ours is the best.
Yeah, Little Caesars. Yeah, Little Caesars is very well regarded in NHL and NBA circles. I think the people that come through Detroit sort of
Yeah.
acknowledge that. But But one final thought, and we might have told this story in the
Yeah.
past. When we were at Joe Louis Arena, there was a spiral staircase that came up to where
Oh,
our set was, and there were always people that would be chanting Ozzy, Ozzy
yeah.
down below. Well, uh, one group of people, 2 or 3 of
Ah,
them,
yeah.
decided, perhaps with some ginger ale involved, that they wanted to come up and visit with us while we were on TV, and so they just kind of found their way up to the set.
They don't realize that that floor wasn't the strongest of floors. If you've ever seen the movie Vacation, where Clark Griswold goes through the floor of the up top there in
Yeah.
the that could happen up there. Remember that floor? I'm like, I mean, we've
Well,
already had one stage collapse. That would have been worse because we would end up on the stove of the Little Caesars, which was below us. And remember the last. I love the Joe because everybody it was just hardened. Like, remember that the one game we were doing when before the puck dropped, that lady got taken out on one of those things that you carry boxes on. What do you call those? She was done. Didn't even make it to the start of the
oh,
game. Out the
like the
front
hand
door.
truck, that kind of
Yeah,
a
like the
thing?
hand
Yeah, yeah.
trolley. The trolley.
The trolley,
Like
yeah,
on the
yeah.
trolley, getting taken out of the.
Well, I wasn't worried so much about the floor collapsing. I was more worried about, a jealous husband as it relates to you, and that somebody was going to, choose, which would have been spectacular television, by the way. If you were to be
that
taken out live on TV, that would have been awesome.
that's
Not that I really wish that on anybody,
I always
really.
think, like, of all the places you could have put that set in there, that was the one spot they decided. You know, when you go around the world and
Well,
you
there
see
wasn't
things
much
you like,
room at the
and you
arena,
go to
so
yourself, "Why?" Like, that was the
yeah,
only place, like,
yeah.
above the hottest stove, above where they made pizza, which, by the way, I always thought the Joe Louis Little Caesars was the best Little Caesars there was, and right above that thing would be sizzling, it'd be hot, it would smell, but I just think there was better choices around there. Well, besides the bathroom across from the dressing room. Remember, you used to get interviews in there. You'd interview me
Yes,
there. That's
yes.
also where you did your your P. It was a multi-dimensional bathroom because you did the P tests in there. You went to the bathroom. Guys would have cigarettes in there,
Yeah,
and you
you
could do
some of your
interviews.
teammates would come in
Yeah,
during the intermission and light up a heater.
and you'd also
Those are
do you do pre and post interviews in there as well.
right,
So
yeah,
it was a bathroom that doubled as a
multi-purpose
lot of
room.
other stuff.
Yeah, right,
Yeah,
right. Hey, we're gonna get to Manny Legacy in just a second. We want to remind everybody that Meyer fuels the fandom that brings people together, whether it's powering your pregame feast, gearing up for the season, or supporting the teams that make our cities proud. Meyer make every moment of fandom even bigger, better, and more unforgettable. And now let's bring in former Osgood teammate, another of the former Osgood teammates, another goalie. Lord help us, Manny Legace joins us. Okay, and continuing the theme as we welcome in a great face to see once again. Former Red Wing goaltender Manny Legace joins us from his home in suburban Detroit now. And Manny, we were just talking about the old rinks. Ozzy's in Los Angeles right now. You began your NHL career as a member of the LA Kings. You played at the Forum, right? Which is the stuff of legend, particularly among the guys that happen on this podcast or have been on TV. What's your best LA Forum story?
Well, I was because we came in on that left-hand corner across from the benches, and you had to skate down past the penalty box. It was my third home game there, I believe, second or third, and sitting next to the penalty box was Mel Gibson, and
Wow.
I almost fell over the blue line, like just staring. I'm like, man, that's Mel Gibson. That's Mel Gibson. I took a little stumble and just kept going. I'm like, we ended up getting destroyed, but I think we were playing St. Louis, and they destroyed us. We weren't very good, but that was my best story. Like just seeing Mel Gibson and all the stars that were at the games and stuff. It was just crazy.
Well, who else besides Mel Gibson of that ilk that you were seeing? Because all the starlets were hanging out then, right?
Oh
They
yeah, yeah. We came out of the room and what's her name? Bridget Jones' Diary. What was her name?
uh is that is that Renee Zellweger?
Renee Zellweger opened the
Okay.
door, and she was just standing right there as I'm walking out of the dressing room, and she was dating Jim Carrey at the time, and Jim was in the. They used to use the LA locker room, the Lakers locker room, which was connecting to ours, as like a VIP before they went up to the green room there, and Jim was in there, and she was just standing. I'm like, "Oh, okay, how are you?" She goes, "Good, good." Is Jim in there? I go, "Oh, this is our dress. They're next door." And she's like, "Oh, okay." And so she would just stumble down there to the next door.
All right, as we mostly the reason we want you on is to hear your squeaky chair.
Oh,
But also,
That's his.
but
That's his
That's
knees.
that's
John.
my bones.
oh,
That's his knees.
That's
and
the
his
new.
back.
those are his
That's the new
knees.
two new knees and a new hip. That's what
That's his
that.
knees back and his right elbow.
Well, better that than the groin, I guess. If the groin is making that noise, we have other issues, I think. So
Might be the liver too.
well, all right. So you find your way to Detroit, and one of the guys in the dressing room is Chris Osgood, and we ask this of all former Ozzy teammates: give me the story that's going to make Ozzy cringe.
Cringe. Oh, geez, I can't go
I
that
didn't
deep.
do anything wrong.
No. Like Ozzy took me under his wing, so it was amazing.
Yeah.
You know, he made me feel like I've been there for 20 years, and you guys were already won 2 cups, and the dressing room was all stars, and I'm looking around going, "Oh, this is gonna be crazy."
I remember when Manny got there, I was amazed at how, like, because back then, right, guys were kind of half a little bit 80s, but Manny was really structured. I'm like, how does he do that? I think we probably talked about it. Like, you're always in control and you could slide beautifully. And I was more stand up still. So I was trying to, like, kind of do what Manny did. Then I left and went to Long Island, I believe. Then I remember you were like between Dom and Chris Joseph, right?
Yes, yeah.
Well, yeah. How was that? I mean, now I play with Dom a little bit. I know what that's like, but to have
Yeah.
both of them, how was that?
Well, it was 2 guys that hated each other, and I don't know where that extended from.
From
They
nowhere.
wouldn't get
Should
they-
never have happened.
no, but I like Dom retired, CuJo came in.
Yeah.
Dom unretires, pick up his contract, and they wouldn't get dressed at the same time. Like they literally would be in the room. Yeah, it was crazy. And then where I sat? I sat on the end.
Yeah.
Remember you sit beside
Yeah,
me.
you sat in the end.
Yeah. So then CuJo, then they put, when you left, Dom was, because it was me, you, and Dom there for a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And you sat right next to me. And then, so when you left, that just stayed empty. But when CuJo came in, they put CuJo there. And then had that empty stall where Dom
Well,
used to sit.
that had to be uncomfortable for you because
Oh, it was crazy. So Dom comes in. They don't like each other. They won't even change next to each other. The next one morning I come in and my stall is now moved. So we have the 3 of us here. Now they've moved my stall in between them. And they moved CuJo into my stall.
no way.
And I'm like, what's going on here? They're like, you're like the buffer zone. I said, so I'm Jimmy Buffer Zone. So I'm just going to be the buffer zone between these 2 guys. I said, I'm not getting this right now. I've been in this stall with Ozzy for like 3-4 years. And now you're just going to, they're like, hey, Manny, was Scotty's idea. So I'm like, all right. All right. So,
Oh my.
yeah.
Well,
so I
how
had to be the buffer zone.
How did that make you feel? Because I mean,
It didn't matter. I
just-
played
you're-
most games that year. One was hurt. The other guy was sent down. I
Right.
ended up playing the most games that
Yeah,
year.
he
so
played the
great.
most games. Manny had a great year that year. So it was like an outstanding year on the team with eventually winning.
Well,
but
here's the kicker. I think our goalies were 21.5 million, and I was the 0.5.
wow, wow. But you want to be a good teammate, and so you have to have some relationship with Curtis, and you have to have
Oh, I
some
agree.
relationship with Dom, right? And so
Well, yeah,
you're
Dom-
good. You're
so-
good with everybody, right?
yeah,
I-
Manny gets lots
I-
of anybody.
Ozzy knows Dom's in his own little world, so it's just. Dom's world. I got along great with CuJo. Like we had the year before we had a great year together. Ozzy's probably the best goalie I've been with, as in just fun and
I
we
can't
just-
make that
I just
claim.
enjoyed- I
I
just
can't make that claim.
I
He's
just
not the
enjoyed-
best goalie I've been with.
Yeah,
I
like
know.
Manny, but you had like 4. You were on a heater for 4 years. Like your record wise was outstanding with the Wings.
The team was pretty damn good.
But still, 36 wins, 22, 18. And I think that I'm guessing 24 the year before when you were talking with when Dom and and CuJo were there. So that was pretty good stuff considering.
Yeah.
I know I was in Long Island to hear stuff. I'm like, really? Like, how don't guys get along? Because we always got along. I go along with all my partners all the time.
You're awesome. You're awesome to play with. It was so much fun. And
But-
you took me right under your wing right away and just made me feel at home. It started right from the first day we driving up to Traverse City, and we roomed together our first training camp. And I just got from LA, and Ozzy goes, I'm gonna play golf in the afternoon. Ozzy was me, you, I think it was Grapes and Mac, maybe Malt.
I liked it because you had that rule in the first hole because we were stiff, and I triple bogeyed the first hole, and he goes, that doesn't count.
Doesn't count. It's a warm up hole.
Right up it's a warm up hole. I needed that.
So he goes, there's a meeting. I'm like, meeting? He goes, yeah, we're gonna go out after and have a couple cocktails. I'm like, okay, dress like you're going out. So I'm reading the rule sheet, and they've already won 2 cups. They've been in Traverse City. We're gonna be up there for a month, and they've been in Traverse City for years. And I'm like, third line is, it's like no fighting, blah 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 blah. 3-hour rule. Curfew's at 11. I'm like, Ozzy, this is my first day. I'm not missing curfew. He goes, read the bottom line. He goes, shuttles run till 3. I'm like, this is a veteran team. I get it. I don't come from the young team in LA. Yeah. So we went out, had a couple cocktails after it, and you just made me feel home. It's awesome.
Now that you're coaching in the development, you've been a goalie coach, but now in New Jersey, I always think, like, I watch goalies now. I'm different than what you do. I'm more or less talking about them. But how are the goalies different now, like from when we played, like CuJo, Dom, to the goalies now, like mentality wise? And go ahead. I think it's difficult to play now too. It's harder.
Well, it's harder because guys don't know the game as well as they did then. And I really owe it all to video games because these kids don't go home and watch hockey. They go home and play video games, and they're playing Minecraft and League of Legends, whatever they're called. I have no idea. I don't play them, but they didn't grow up the way we grew up, where we loved watching hockey and we loved the game to just dissect it to get better. These kids don't. They don't. They're when I'm walking around the dressing room, they're talking about what time they're going to meet after dinner so they all can play, Minecraft, whatever they're playing. And so the understanding of games has gotten way worse. I understand the holdups and all that is gone away, where you could lock down your own zone. You could lock a 1-goal victory in the third period and not let any team get the chance. But I don't think these guys would be smart enough to do it. I really don't.
You're speaking of like hockey sense, like goalies reading plays and goalies deciphering what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
Or like I always said about Dom. Dom was like the Wayne Gretzky of goalies. Like he could read plays and do stuff that nobody else could do, like fly out of the net and go down where he did, but he saw it differently than anybody else. And he did watch hockey. It was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That guy was unbelievable. You practice with him. He was hard to play. You'd be practicing with him, John. And at the other end, he's so good, it puts pressure on you to be better. I mean, because you don't want to look bad. You don't want to be, the guys go to one end and shoot on him. You want the guys to come to the other end and shoot on you and respect that. So he moved you better.
He was so competitive. Like you could score on him, he'd make you do it 6 times.
Yeah.
Like until he stopped you a couple times in a row, just to make him, like, he was so competitive.
It's like he had a thing once, and Patrick Kane. It's scored on a penalty shot in Chicago on him. Patrick Kane was rookie, so Dom didn't know who he was. Neither did I. And Dom was so mad that he put 100 pucks at center the next day, and he picked the 4 best guys, and we had to stop everyone before we could leave the ice. I'm like, Dom, I had nothing to do with this. It was all you. Like, I'm exhausted. I mean, I didn't play in Chicago, so I'm a little more tired than you were. Like, and now the next day I'm sweating. I mean, it was good. I get to sweat, but still. But he was like that. And even I always tell a story, man. His last game ever, we were in Pittsburgh in 2008, and he was going to retire. He's 42. He lined up pucks. He's kind of losing his reflexes because he's older. And this just happens. And he lined up pucks to hash marks, had guys skate in as fast as they could from blue line and tee him up, and he stood on the goal line to see if he still has reflexes. The last practice ever. I'm like, that's how, like, just to prove it to himself, he still had it.
He went into that, then he went into playing roller hockey. Like,
did he?
In Czech. Like, he just can't get a competitive thing. Remember, he cross-checked the guy. And
cross-checked somebody,
Yeah. And I think there was a little bit of a lawsuit involved. Like, he is so competitive. It's insane.
I'm just hoping that as we're talking about this dedication and competitiveness, that John would put more into this and other things in his life and be competitive with that. Like he faked that his internet didn't work, so he could go to the bar during the day. So he's dedicated to drinking and doing whatever else he does to get on here, but not actually like doing anything else.
This from you. That is that is choice. That's
Manny,
so
I wanted to
that's
ask you this because I was thinking of this, and we never talk about golf ever. Top 5, because Michigan has great golf. I always tell my friends that back home, like, what's your top? Like, you don't have to name 5. We can go 3 golf courses in Michigan that you've golfed.
Michigan.
Yeah.
Well, you got to go. I hate saying it, but Arcadia Bluffs.
Yeah.
Because I hate the green complexes and they run them. It would be okay if they didn't run them at 13s and you're 4-putting all day. Unbelievable golf course. I haven't played the new.
Yeah.
The new one. I think it's called the South, maybe.
Oh, yeah. It's really good.
Yeah. I really like, we're both members of Cardinal. I really like Cardinal. They've done a phenomenal job.
in Plymouth.
Yeah.
That's good.
The Live tournament did extremely well there. And I think they're going to be coming back for the next 3 years.
Yeah.
You know what else I like is what's the name of it? Up at Ypsilanti. Eagle Crest.
Yeah. Yeah.
What a
That's
great golf course. I think it's ranked in the top 10 in college golf courses, owned by Eastern. It is an unbelievable golf course. Played that probably 3 or 4 times a summer. It's on the crew there just does an unbelievable job.
And I'm trying to get Ozzy to Grand Haven because American Dunes is very well regarded.
I want to play that golf. I hear it's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's a Nicholas design golf course. It's not far from where we sit.
We want to get
talked
there
about
too,
doing a
Manny,
podcast. Yeah.
Mr.
Like
Promises,
if
Mr.
you guys want to
Promises.
get, let me know and I'll set that up for you
Yeah.
guys to
Yeah,
play.
that'd be great.
So you're on that 2002 team that won the cup, which I think is fairly well regarded by almost everybody as perhaps the greatest collection of hockey players in NHL history. What was that like? Ozzy had left town, which allowed it to become the greatest collection of hockey players. But
Yes.
but
Just like
it,
everybody else, I hold back.
all the Hall of Famers that were in that dressing room, what was that like for Manny Legace?
It was every day thanking God how blessed I was to be in that dressing room. It was, from the best leader ever in Stevie. You just go down the list. The decor is just insane. With Nick plays 40 minutes a night for crying out loud. And, you get Chelios and everybody. It was just, what was the most impressive thing is that room could have just easily walked in every day and just went and out talented everybody at game time. But they walked in every day and it was business and they got better every single day. That's what really impressed me the most is when you showed up, if you weren't working, someone was yelling at it. It was drapes, malts, get your butt out of your, get your head out of your butt. And what are you doing today? And it didn't matter. Like it didn't, all the big every day was a workout and it was a job and we could have easily phoned in every game. That's how good that team was. And they didn't allow it. And that's what credit to all of them is why they're all Hall of Famers.
And you had to feel the pressure throughout that season because everybody was aware of how collectively good you were or how, prominent you were. That team had to win the cup, right?
Well, if we didn't, it would have been a lot of jobs lost, especially when you go and get, like we got Dominic Hasek, and paid him 10 million or whatever it was, 11 million, whatever it was. And that was a big statement. You're going to give up a guy who won 2 cups to the Islanders.
Yeah. I mean, Ozzy, yeah, right. But they traded Kazi away, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, you made these big statements and you give him away a fan favorite in Ozzy and you better win with Don. You better win, and there was pressure, I think, in the first round where we went down 2-0 to Vancouver. And then once that train started rolling, the confidence in the locker room just took off.
You want to jump in there, Oz?
I can.
Okay.
Am I allowed?
You're off.
You're that's enough for me. No, I want to go. People realize I always think, and I want to speak about the World Juniors. So for people that don't know what that is, World Juniors would be like for the U.S. people, World Cup of Soccer, right, Manny? In Canada, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
So if the U.S. wins the World Cup of Soccer, that's huge for the men. But in Canada, it's World Juniors, as some people might have seen, happens around Christmas. So Manny was the goalie in 1992, 93, right?
93. Yeah.
93, they won the gold medal. And back then, Canada would have been an underdog. And I believe you made the All-Star team there. And stopped it. And that's when Canada wasn't as dominant as they are now. Is that right?
Yeah. The year before they finished 6th.
I remember watching the game, and I didn't know of you then. But outstanding. How many saves do you have that game? Just go over how that kind of changed the trajectory of your career. Because it had after that.
It changed. I got passed over twice in the draft. It also was 5'9", pickling 5'10", but never got there. And but that changed my whole life and career. Our captain was Marty Lapointe. Our deep bar was crazy with Chris Pronger and Brett Tully and Rathje and Smith. Like Bouchard. Like we had so many. Our team became like all NHLers. Paul Correa was on our team. Tyler Wright was on our team. Like our team became all NHLers, but everyone picked us to finish worse than 6th again. And probably be in that game that sends you back down. And then Forsberg and Naslund were on Sweden, and they were supposed to win. And Peter Forsberg, they set a record for points in a tournament. It was insane. But yeah, that launched everything. Our big game against them, we won 5-4. They had 40 some odd shots. Played the Finns day, had 60 shots, and it was an unbelievable tournament for me as a career. Because I ended up getting drafted as an overage that year.
I love the story because for young kids, it always doesn't happen right away, and everybody develops at a different rate, especially goalies, and it holds true for defensemen and forwards too, where they have one setback and they kind of get down and don't rebound from it. So that's why I love it, because you didn't get drafted for 2 years, and probably deservedly so, but for some reason or another didn't. Then ended up now. Who were the other goalies? Were you supposed to make it, or
no? Jocelyn Thibault was supposed to be the goalie.
Yeah,
wow.
And we had out camp.
Played with the Avs, the Avs and the Nords. Yeah,
he played for a long time. And Philip Deruval was the other goalie. So two French goalies.
Yeah.
The funny thing you say about setbacks, the year before I didn't get drafted.
Yeah.
I think we had 65 games that year. I played 50 some odd games. Went to the semifinals, ended up losing to the Sioux, who went to the Memorial Cup. I think they won the Memorial Cup that year.
Yeah, in Seattle. I was playing in Seattle then.
Right. And so I played all that, and my backup goalie got drafted by Detroit, and I didn't get drafted.
Who was that?
Like Greg Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was in camp with me. Greg
Yeah.
Scott. Yeah.
Big 6'3", you know? And I was like, did I just hear Greg Scott got drafted? And I didn't get drafted again. I'm like, what is going on? I played every game.
Yeah. This perseverance to just keep doing. That's why I love that story so much. Nobody knows that World Juniors would be, but besides the Olympics for hockey, it's second best in Canada. People love it, and there's a lot of pressure on these guys when they do play it. I got cut twice. They said,
well, Trevor Kidd was the goalie,
but I didn't know this guy back then. They said somebody called the coach named John Keating and got me taken off the team.
He was the head
but
scout.
I think, if I recall, Manny, though, it's a hard team to make. It is, and I think it was Marty Brewer and I both got cut that year. And Trevor Kidd was a goalie who played a while, but it's just
did he play like 2 years in a row or something ridiculous?
Yeah, he just keep going. Yeah, so
because Marty's my boss now.
Yeah,
and he still could play like Trevor Kidd every time. Like what?
Yeah, Marty Brewer and I got cut 2 years in a row.
He's like, really? Why?
But you haven't hung on to it for these many years. You've let it go. Dear God, it's a long, long time ago, and you can't let it go. You've had a marvelous career. The TV stuff, not so much, but you know, your playing career was great, and you can't let go of the fact that somebody was better than you for a minute.
At the time. And you know what? That could have been the case too. You think back, maybe you just weren't that good back then.
Oh, that can't be the case.
That can't
That can't be
There's
the
no
case.
way that could
I love it. I love it.
Let's ask Jenna that. She'll agree with that.
Well, as we wrap things up, share with people what you're doing these days in the coaching world.
So yeah, I was with when I retired in 12. I went with the Columbus Blue Jackets for 11 years. I was the head goalie coach there for 7 of them. I had a bit of a contract issue, and we parted ways. And then Marty Brodeur called me and asked me if I wanted to be head of directing and scouting for and development. And I was like, "Yep, I'm coming to work for you. And you do anything for that Hall of Famer, one of the best goalies of all time." And he's amazing to work with. He's an unbelievable person. Didn't know him from the one time he yelled at me, but that was in a meeting for the goalies during the lockout in 05. But that was the only time I've ever met him and talked to him, so I didn't really know him. And now that I've got to know him for the last 2 years, he's an unbelievable person. Unbelievable. He's loves golf, which is awesome, which is right up my alley, and we get along very, very well. So it's a from top to bottom. When you leave an organization like Columbus and then go to New Jersey, from top to bottom, it's first class all the way. That's you understand why they're where they are for the last 3-4 years. You know, from Tom Fitzgerald, Dan McKinnon, Marty, the whole staff is just unbelievable from top to bottom, and it's a fun place to work. It's a real fun place to work.
Hey, we're delighted to see you. We're delighted for your success as a goalie in Detroit, and your post playing days as well. And hopefully, we will cross paths in suburban Detroit one of these days. Hey, Manny, thanks. All the best, man.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate
All right.
it. This is fun.
All right.
All right, see you, Manny.
All right, it's great to visit with Manny Legace. As Ozzy and Keats is brought to you by Meijer. Meijer brings more good to every game day, and Meijer is your one-stop fan shop, from team-branded gear to tailgate essentials and snacks for watching from the couch. Meijer stores give fans everything they need to celebrate game day their way, and they proudly present the questions that have poured in, mostly for Chris Osgood. There might be the odd one for me, but almost all of them are for Ozzy. If there was an NHL goalie who could play out in the NHL, who would that have been and why?
Ed Belfour, for sure. I remember Kelly Rudy, if people remember who that is. Played for the Islanders, played for Los Angeles Kings back when Gretzky was there. They went to the finals, losing to Montreal. He played out in Madison. He played for the same junior team I did. He was very good. He could do both. I'm thinking of Belfour for these reasons. One, he's very competitive, and he can do it, by the way. And he's ultra aggressive, and he'd be real mean. I'll never forget.
He's a little crazed, right? I mean,
yeah, I'll never forget. We were playing Dallas, and I fought Patrick Waugh, and we did all that, and even some stuff. But I remember he was asking me to go down and fight him, and I just gave him up. Nope. I'm not that smart. I know that. And I made some mistakes, but I know better than that, because you know, there's no way that he'd ever quit or go down. So, and I respect him. And I remember he went to Toronto, and this is all out of respect, because I think he's one of my favorite goalies of all time. We played in Chicago. I used to watch him and learn from him, because we didn't have goalie coaches. So he's a guy that you learn by watching other guys, and he was one of them. But for sure, him, Ed Belfour, who's a Michigander, I believe, right? Or he lived in Michigan?
From northern Michigan, yeah.
Northern Michigan he would be ultra aggressive. He would be like a Tom Wilson type of player from Washington. So he'd be difficult to play against, and obviously he could fight. So Ed Belfour.
I want to clip off this part of the episode that everybody just heard, where Chris Osgood said out loud, "I've made some mistakes."
Yeah.
Because those words have never been put together by Ozzy ever.
Yeah. Yeah. You have humility is a good thing. That's how you make corrections, and that's how you move forward.
You're discovering that late in life, so you can try to undo all the things.
It doesn't
that you
really
have
matter
done.
now. It doesn't really matter.
Is it too late for you?
Yeah, it's too late.
Well, and to your point about skating and being a
Yeah.
goalie, so obviously we know that of your success as an NHL goalie. Your son is not a goalie.
No.
He's a
Yeah, he plays
skater.
out.
At what point
It's
was there the discussion about, all right, I don't want him to do what I did, or he's got the skills to be able to play out?
He was a goalie for 2 years. He was good. He had the same manners as me. I don't know how that happened, but he was pretty good. But he played out and decided he liked that better. It was more fun, and that was about 8 years old and 9, I think it was. But I remember and we were playing in I want to say, not Kalamazoo. What's by Sarnia there? I should know this.
Port Huron?
Port Huron at the old rink there, great rink. In this half ice tournament, we played this really good team. He was in net for it, and they're older. And I never get nervous ever. I was so nervous it was ridiculous. Like, but you look back on it, the nets are small. It's just a fun cross ice game. But that's when I said to myself, maybe I can't handle him being a goalie. Like you kind of get to that realization. But it's different now. And I was glad I did that because a lot of kids just say you're going to be a goalie. When I was younger, you weren't allowed just to be a goalie. You had to play out. I didn't start playing goalie full time until I was almost 13, 12, 13-year-old year. I played out, played forward, played defense. So I wish they'd rotate him for longer, give him a chance to play every position.
I think we've talked about that too, that every other parent looks at the parent of the goalie and blames you. You're the one who brought this person into the world. He just let in a goal. It's your fault as the father of the goalie, right?
I put Max in a goalie camp. So the difference is this. You go to like a camp or whatever, a hockey school, we'll call it, for players. All the parents are fraternizing and talking. You go to one for goalies, they're all sitting there not saying anything. They're just dead quiet.
They're
they're
all tense. They're fraught with emotions.
Yeah, because then you get to notice everything because I've been on both sides of it. I'm like, this is way different than just a normal hockey school. So
Oh my God.
then I'm kind of thinking to myself, maybe this isn't what we need to do. But it was up to him. Now he plays out.
All right. We thank Jake Johnson for that question. Joshua Dickey asked Chris Osgood, what is your favorite memory of Pavel Datsyuk?
My favorite memory of Pavel Datsyuk is when I was in St. Louis. And I play with Pav, obviously, but I was in St. Louis and Detroit was a 2002 year, had a lot of players. So he was on the fourth line with Robitaille, whoever they had, and Chris Pronger, great defenseman, Hall of Famer, doesn't know Pavel Datsyuk. This is his first year. He's dangling. He's flying around. He's splitting the D. He's making all these moves. He's slapping. And Chris Pronger, who we all know, very competitive, can be mean, one of the best defensemen of all time, in my estimation, comes in after the second period and goes, he's sitting kind of by me. Ozzy, what the, who in the F is this number 13? And who does he think he is? Just pissed because he didn't know. Because he was, he got his attention, right? Because he was so good. And we go to the next period, and I'm like, oh boy, Prague's going to do something because he was like that. So Pav tries to split the D again. One of the biggest two-handers right across Pav's thigh and leg, breaks his stick in half, just fuming because, Chris Pronger doesn't get beat by a lot of guys.
Doesn't want to look, doesn't want to be embarrassed, right?
But Pavel Datsyuk, who we didn't know was so damn good, and we know who he became, one of the best forwards, I think, ever, was out there making us look silly, and he was wondering who he was. So that was my Pavel Datsyuk story.
All right. One more question to wrap it up, and it's actually a two-parter.
I'll have more Pavel Datsyuk story.
Okay.
I got another. We're at training camp, and training camps are always great, the scrimmage games, and then training camp, we were winning lots, and we have golf outings, and we have a lot of different things we do. We do a lot of charity events up there too, which were fun. And we had a scrimmage the one day, and I wasn't running at 100%. And
wait, let me absorb that for a second. Traverse City training camp at less than 100%.
Yeah.
Okay, you can continue.
And then I was laying on the ice about the hash marks. This is during the game. And Pav had the puck, and I'm dead in the water. There's no chance for me even to move. He went behind me in front of the net, then went back behind the net laughing. So he let me off the hook. He never scored out of maybe respect, I was hoping. But that was Pav for it, because Pav he was a jokester for sure, and he was a funny guy. But he also had a ton of respect for the game and the players. That was my other. Or he could have easily had scored, but it didn't mean anything. It was funnier for him to make me look silly by not scoring. So it was good.
And isn't it understood that he spoke English or understood English a lot better than he let on
I
to
think
to the
so.
members of the media?
I think so. I mean, I, yeah, I think he did. He just didn't. He just kind of stayed to his own. I
He
mean, he
absorbed
did
it
his
all.
own
Yeah.
thing. He absorbed it all. I mean, really smart player. To me, you can't be that smart of a player and not be smart for everything else. So he was amazing that where the Wings picked him. And Ken Holland told
Right.
the story of seeing him walking down the hallway. He's like, "That's the guy. That's him. That's really
Bow-legged. Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
he's the guy." And it ends up. And it's a great story because not everybody has to look the same or be the same or have the same athleticism or do whatever to be successful. So one of the greatest Red Wings ever.
And now in the Hall of Fame in Toronto. All right, last
Yeah.
one, the two-parter.
'Kay.
Which aspects of mine do you admire and which do you despise
Of you,
of me? What do you admire about me and what do you despise about
I
me?
admire the fact that you can get up every day despite all the flaws, despite all the hardness of just getting yourself up and doing stuff, and you still get it done. You still get it done. That's what I admire the most. That somehow you found a way through Denver, through Grand Rapids, through all the different sports stations you've worked for, through resembling Venus Flytrap and Johnny Fever. God bless.
Oh,
Everything you've
man.
been through, everything you've been through, whether we know it or not, that you're still standing and doing a kick-ass job. There you go.
All right. And
I actually
thus,
complimented you that much for once. So there you go. As
I
in
know.
kick-ass job.
So you really answered both parts of that. You admire and despise both
Yeah.
parts at the
Cool.
same time,
But
right?
and
Yeah.
no, honestly, like I told the story, I believe before, but when I was on Jay Leno and all that stuff, but you have the ability to make people look better. And this is the only time I'm going to compliment you on this show ever. This is
Oh, God.
36 episodes in, is that you have you have this ability to make people look good even when they're not that good. There you go.
Well, I appreciate that. All right. We thank everybody for listening and watching. We thank Meyer for their involvement in Ozzy and Keats. We couldn't be more
Whoever.
thrilled to have them aboard. Meyer brings more good to every game day, and we'll leave you with that. For Ozzy, I'm Keats. We'll see you next time, everybody.
Ozzy and Keats is produced by Zachary Davis and Bill McAllister and proudly distributed by Podcast Nation in Troy, Michigan.